Yo, all right, we're live. Sorry about that. I think I'm coming down with some. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. I hope not. Not this close to Christmas. Christmas. Oh my God, it's gonna be a long stream. All right, so today we are gonna go ahead and I want to see if we can utilize ChatGPT to help us come up with project ideas. I want to first share how I come up with a project idea and see if we can, I don't know, because when you've gotten into the habit of creating a list of ideas, they just come naturally, but I don't think that happens naturally to begin with. It's like a muscle that you need to train, which is why I highly recommend to have like a notepad. And just like if you come up with an idea, even if you think it's kind of silly or you can't do it, like write it down. I think that's a great idea. And it starts training your mind to recognize when you do come up with an idea that potentially could be solved through technology. So I'll give a few examples of my own process, and then we'll see if ChatGPT can help replicate that. But before I do, let me go ahead and get rid of this echo, put on some music, toss it in Discord, and get started. Give me a second. All right. I don't know if I have a fever. I gotta take my temperature, but I'll probably be a little bit slow this stream, just to give you a heads up. All right, let's go ahead. I'm not doing lo-fi. There's no way I'm doing lo-fi. That's gonna put me asleep. We'll go with this. Volume should be good on that. Okay. All right, so I went way over. Let me know if anyone's in stream right now. Okay, the stream is live. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted to know. I think LinkedIn, if you schedule the stream and you go 15 minutes over, it cancels it. I think YouTube gives you a little bit more flexibility. All right, I hope you are better or all better soon among the teacher crowd. We've noticed lots of sick people, but negative flu, COVID and strep throat. Some are calling it Solfit. Oh, wonderful, Natalie. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mohammed, what's up? How you doing? Well, I hope your fellow teachers get better. Yeah, you guys probably get sick all the time. That's gotta be rough. Might build some resentment for the children, causing hell for your life. Man, I feel like being a teacher, you have to have a lot of patience. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. So, all right, so here's what I do. Music's pretty good. We'll turn it down just a bit. But I want to go over, I want to try to come up with this. I just wanted to wing it. No prep whatsoever. I don't like prepping. Because I want to kind of show you my process with trying to become or come up with a project idea. So tad excited for your stream. Loads of patience. Nice Natalie, thank you. All right, so let's give an example. I always say, so a lot of people are struggling. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people ask the wrong question. They ask, what kind of project should I create that employers are going to care about, right? There's nothing well, there is something inherently wrong with the question, but technically it's a okay question, right? And eventually it will get answered. That's not the initial question you should be asking. What you should be asking is, now that I'm learning this technology, now that I'm learning how to code, what can I build to solve problems that exist in the world? What can I build that can solve problems for businesses, right? That's the question you should start with. And then once you do that and you dig into who the user of that app is, who needs their problem solved, and you figure out who that user is. Usually, like, you can build an app to solve one of your own problems. It's one of the easiest projects to build, and it can be effective. But once you understand that, then you can say, okay, well, what other features can I build to make this, or to make a more robust solution? Or can I solve the slightly different problem that's related to this person? Would it fit into this app? Does it make sense, right? Because all of us have used applications. We've all used thousands of features, whether you realize it or not. You kind of have a pattern. You kind of know what features exist with different types of apps, and that'll come in handy down the road. And you'll be able to kind of naturally think like, okay, well, does this feature actually make sense? And, you know, have I used this type of feature anywhere else in any other product? And what's that look like? And so you can relate it to all the other web apps or whatever apps that you're using or trying to build. You can relate it to all these other apps that you've built and use that as a reservoir of ideas and features that you can bring into your application that makes sense. So I know it's kind of like a lot of abstraction right now, but for example, I can just give a really small example. I highly recommend people, if you're struggling to come up with an idea, look at your old industry, right? We've all used crappy software in our old industry, even like McDonald's and Taco Bell, right? You have that register that has, if I even went back to Taco Bell, because I worked at Taco Bell a long time ago, scheduling was always an issue. We had crappy scheduling software. I already know. I mean, it's been a while. I don't really know the holes in our scheduling software. I just know it was really complicated unnecessarily, and it was uncomplicated. It was complicated in all the wrong ways. And I could have built scheduling software that could have made it much, much easier and solved their team's problems. When I was an aquatics director, scheduling was always an issue. When I would have to schedule trainings like every, I think, month, something like that for the lifeguards. Well, pretty much all staff for CPR and just water stuff. And it was a pain. There wasn't really any good scheduling software, and there was always staff that could, I don't know, some staff even, for example, the scheduling software that we use would glitch out in their browser specifically. So I could have, even to rebuild the scheduling software that existed and even replicated some of the features, not the exact thing, but like, I know what features are very common in scheduling software, even to rebuild that and make it a little bit more responsive and friendly and a little bit more supported on older browsers would have been a huge benefit, right? It would have solved my an old problem as an aquatics director. Another thing was essentially integrating. We had a marketing website at the YMCA, building software that could have, we had this really archaic system to input all of our data and like all the swim lesson plans and everything. It all got populated. So essentially we had this archaic software that had this integration that would connect to, I don't even know if I don't know what the integration looked like back then, but to be able to build like a web-based software where me and other executives could have just put all that data in, and it eventually got displayed to that marketing website. That could have been a solution that would have been very helpful for us. Very archaic software. And I already know everything that needs to be recorded. I know all the input that needs to be recorded. I know how the data relates to each other because I put that data in over and over and over, right? And so when you look at your old industry, it's a little bit easier because some of these problems, they've been fleshed out a little bit more, and you've had more time to really think about how this could be better software, and you could build it. You could build that better software. This is one of the easiest ways that you can, one of the easiest strategies that you can use to be able to come up with project ideas and understand what features should be built with those projects to be able to just be better software for staff. Even if you quit that old industry, you can say, here's this internal tool that's going to be much more fleshed out, better responsive. It's going to work on all browsers. And I'm using an example as a web-based software, but again, you can use this in different software development paths. One more example, and then I'll catch up with chat, and then we'll jump into ChatGPT. I was a live streamer when I was trying to learn how to code. I was on Twitch, and the analytics sucked ass. They were so terrible. They were so bad. And so essentially I was building a better analytics tool to be able to help streamers understand what they were doing right and what they weren't doing right. I used a really simple metric of like, this is your highest concurrent viewers. You should probably examine these timestamps in your past broadcasts of what you were doing to like retain a lot of people. And I was the user. I was a Twitch streamer, and so it was very easy for me. It was, I mean, it wasn't like super easy, but like it was easier than just trying to come up with a project idea on the spot that I don't even care about, right? And I was able to flesh out some features that made sense, and it solved a real problem, and it used the coding skills, the technology that I learned to be able to do that, right? I really think people are, again, this is why you don't start with a problem. What project should I build that employers are going to care about? What project should I build that's going to utilize my skills and solve problems that I know exist in the world, that I know exist in my old profession, that I know exist in my life? That's the question, and that's how you should start with project ideas. And then, as you start thinking about this, spend 30 minutes and just write some ideas down. Maybe some are bad. You cross out most of them. You get one. You're a little unsure about that idea. Cool. Do that practice again the next day. Think about, and again, another technique. It's like you can take software that you use on a daily basis, and you like maybe they could have a feature that they just won't implement, and you just want to implement that feature. You want to try to build that feature out. You want to flesh it out. You build a very small version, a very small project that utilizes that feature, because it obviously does solve a problem for some user. You are at least that user that it could solve that problem for. So it's more of like a mindset shift that's going to get you into more of becoming a user-centered developer. When you are a user-centered developer, you're thinking about the users first. You're thinking about their problems that exist. You're going to build better software. It's a habit that you have to build up. And when you are a user-centered developer, usually you're going to be more open to the business requirements as well. And you're going to be able to work with different departments. And you're not just some code monkey writing code, which ChatGPT can do already. Like code monkeys are not going to be hireable at this point. At least in the near future. So you need to become this user-centered developer that is a problem solver first over anything else, where the tech stack is irrelevant, the languages irrelevant, the libraries and just whatever else, all the technology is irrelevant, and you're using the technology to solve the problems that you want to solve, right? And so if you're trying to become a web developer, we're going to have limited options that are marketable, that are widely used across at least the United States and even different countries. So, but if you become a problem solver, it's much easier to then further explore what technology stack that you want to learn and you want to build stuff with professionally. And so that mindset shift is what I'm trying to get people to recognize, because that's what's going to make you stand out when everyone else has all these templated projects. You got to build this e-commerce website. Employers are going to love that. You got to build this to-do app. You got to build this I don't know. What other templated projects do people suggest that you build? There's tons of them. I'm blanking right now. But yeah, so does that make sense? So this is the mindset that I'm going into ChatGPT with, and I'm going to see if it can help me out. Maybe it can't. I don't know. We'll find out. What's up, Amin? How you doing? But yeah, what are your thoughts on that when you hear that? Does that resonate with you? Does that sound weird? Does that sound unachievable? Or do you feel like it kind of puts things into perspective? Martin, that's like... We'll probably stick on topic for this stream. I don't know what you're going on about. What's up, Renee? How you doing? Welcome back. All right. All right, so I need more water. Like I said, I got a stomach bug or something, so I'm gonna try to force myself through this. Super helpful, since I'm in a boot camp reading about people not knowing what to do once they finish. You're a teacher. You probably, so my second position, I was a developer, and we basically had this online portal. It was Albert. And we had this online portal that was in a lot of schools, right? And hell, if you ever use that software, you might be like, okay, we could probably use a better version of this software, or you probably used pretty archaic versions, because I understand that the IT departments at a lot of schools, they lock it at older browser versions. And so even building a similar app that is a little bit more supported on your archaic browsers, that might be super beneficial. But yeah, I'm sure you used a lot of software that you probably have opinions about. So something to think about. Okay. Whew. All right. So where do we start? I think even Martin, the message disappeared, but Martin said like using ChatGPT to build your portfolio. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should be using ChatGPT to write your code at all. In fact, any code, any projects that you put, expect an employer to challenge you on that, and you're gonna have to walk through all the implementation decisions. And usually that kind of stuff, like when you haven't written the code, that's gonna get caught very quickly in the interview, and it's gonna look really bad for you. So Martin, I did see that message. I think it's a horrible idea. So don't use ChatGPT to create your portfolio. I would argue, if you're not going to put your portfolio on your resume, that's okay. Your portfolio, like the code, you're not going to link the code on the resume. That's fine. I think it's even fine to like build your portfolio through a WordPress project. Just get it up through a CMS. Your portfolio is the most uninteresting project that you can build. But I highly recommend you just build it from scratch anyways to practice, because you got to reinforce everything that you're learning. So just something to keep in mind. All right. All right. So how do we use this? Again, I'm just winging this. Let's give it a generic question. What the hell is this? Is this just like a glitch? It's weird. What are five portfolio projects that I can build as an aspiring web developer? Let's ask that. Okay. Let's go ahead and refresh. No! I timed these so poorly. Okay. 5 potential portfolio projects that you can consider. Okay, a personal website. Simple e-commerce. See, this is commonly recommended. Social media platform. Task management application. Once it gets done, I tried doing this. This was fun. Manageable, focused, and to choose projects that will showcase your skills and interests as you work on these projects. Be sure to document your process or progress and keep track of the technologies and techniques used. That's awesome. Oh, that's interesting. Different style. This will be helpful when it comes time to present your portfolio to potential employers or clients. So, yes. These kind of apps are commonly recommended. The problem with this is every aspiring developer is building stuff like this, right? How do you stand out? You don't. When you're building the same things, you don't. You want to build things, you want to solve problems that you want to solve, right? Companies hire more than just a code monkey. They hire people that want to solve the company's problems as well. You're going to stand a more of a chance of actually sticking with the company if the purpose of the company, the values line up with that company. And the companies know that, right? And so, again, if you come from healthcare, or if you come from, honestly, like Natalie, if you're a teacher, you're becoming a developer, you might consider applying to a company like Albert. Again, I don't know where you live, but Albert's in Chicago. But there are tons of tech ed companies where they help more traditional educators. And, you're probably going to have a passion for helping other teachers. So there might be a company in the Austin area that does that. But that's what I would recommend focusing on. Like trying to apply to industries. Now that you are a developer, trying to apply to industries that you're familiar with. You understand the problems in. because you're going to bring more to the table in the discussions, especially in startup culture, especially in startups. Even startups like 100 employees, 200 employees, you're still going to bring that flavor, that expertise, that professional experience, because you're going to understand the problems that exist at that company. So I highly recommend that you apply to companies within your industry first and like really double down, put a lot of time into, not a lot of time, but half an hour into company research, write that cover letter, a couple paragraphs, like take it seriously, do a little research on the company and show that you have done it and that, what you have to offer, what you have to provide. And you could even talk about your old experience. Like, I understand the problems that you guys are facing. I worked with a lot of teachers and I can bring some perspective from my end, becoming a developer. That's a really interesting cover letter that a company is going to care about a lot more than, some developer or the hundreds of developers just building a random e-commerce website or a random social media platform or another to-do list. Like, we don't have enough of those. You get what I'm saying? So this is why these templates, they just don't work anymore. It's too competitive. So we're going to dig in a little bit and we're going to change up our strategy. I'm actually going to challenge ChatGPT to come up with something a little bit more sophisticated, but I think we're going to have a different strategy in place to be able to like really flesh out a project idea. Yeah. They dumbed who down a lot? What? What are you talking about, Cody? All right. ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a gender? Well, that's not creepy, Cody. Thank you for that. All right, so yeah, I have not noticed anything with ChatGPT. Any differences? I think it's a robot, Cody. I think it's, yeah. Okay, moving on. Let's see. A social media platform idea, or no, we'll say every aspiring developer is building an e-commerce website. I feel like I won't stand out by building some templated or by building the same thing every other aspiring developer is building. Can you create 5 more very unique project ideas that solve real problems in the world? Here, we'll say web-based project ideas that solve real problems in the world. I don't even know what you're going on about, Cody. What? All right, a platform for connecting volunteers with nonprofit organizations. Build a website application that helps nonprofits. Okay. Include features such as a volunteer profile, a system, a calendar. That's interesting. It's basically saying the project idea and then adding features to it. Tracking and reducing. So it's basically like it's really trying to solve problems that are a little bit more personal, some global. A platform for connecting skilled professionals with short-term opportunities. So this, you could actually use this tool to just give you ideas. Again, don't just build one of these ideas because it was made as a suggestion. It kind of sounds good. If you latch onto, I'll let it finish. Hold on. Solving a specific problem or need with your projects and think about how you can make it unique and stand out from similar projects. Yep, that's good. That's good advice. So a tool for organizing and promoting local events. Maybe you hosted a meetup, right? And you hosted a meetup and the meetup software is charging everyone. You're like, this is ridiculous. There's no reason to charge people to get together. That kind of defeats the purpose of meetup, right? To me, like, it's charging organizers. And I honestly, like, this would kind of speak to me, but like, let's say you're a meetup host and you hate the idea of meetup. You moved away from it. You want to build a better, essentially, event creation platform. And, or maybe you are an artist, you are a musician, and the platforms you use to be able to even, I don't know, essentially market certain events, there's probably like common applications that are going to like connect artists and help them be able to like push out their event to, you know, their local town or something like that. But like when you come up, just see like a random list of features, we could ask it to come up with like 20. We could ask it to come up with 30. Like these are pretty unique, right? And so if one latches on, you're like, you know what? This is how you use this tool. You see this and you're like, you know what? Like I'm actually sick of Meetup, right? Like I think it's time we like make these things free again. There's no reason to charge organizers. Like it's just going to prevent people from hosting more meetups. Like I want to actually bring a little bit more life into event organization. This would be kind of cool to create. That's how you use a list like this. You don't just latch onto some random thing because it sounds good. You use it because it's a problem that you want to solve. This is going to speak volumes. This is going to speak volumes to be able to help you relate to employers. It's going to help employers relate to you and give employers an idea of what you care about, what you give a shit about, right? This is what you're going to be, you know, this is where you're going to push through those lulls or the plateaus or the demotivation. Like you're not going to be motivated all the time to code, especially for a company, right? But if you can match that purpose, if you can match the values, a company knows you're going to most likely push through that and have a little bit more longevity at the company and actually care about how that organization is doing. You're going to have some skin in the game, so to speak, because you guys share a common purpose. And that's, I'm telling you, this is what helps developers stand out. Not this random bullshit. Yeah, just build an e-commerce. It's going to cover all these technical features. It's like, no, you can build these technical features. Like you can build authentication into this, right? You can build, maybe there is a subscription. Maybe you're like, you know what? Fuck you, Meetup. You're not charging enough. I'm going to charge more for organizers to use my app. So I'm going to build some subscription system where like I got to take payments, right? And so you could still, you know, hook it up with something like Stripe and take those payments. That's super impressive. I would say that's a bit advanced, and that's going to be, you know, you're going to be investing a lot of time into that project. But, you know, you can build these advanced features that people talk about with these templated projects into projects that matter, that are going to get employers' attentions. This is the conversations are created around these unique projects that's what makes you stand out. I'm telling you, your competition is so high, you have to stand out. You can no longer be a code monkey. I can't stress this enough. I say this 1,000 times and 90% of you will still try to get a project idea from online. Like, yeah, give me a project idea. I'm just going to build it. I'm going to build a few projects that people have told me to build, and I'm going to go ahead and apply. Oh no, I'm not getting too far into the interview. I'm not getting too many interviews. Why is that? I wonder. A lot of people will not do this. Most people will not do this. And if you do, you are going to stand out 100%. So that's how you can use you can dig into it. And we could even ask, I'm not going to because I want to try a different strategy, but you can ask like, actually, this could actually integrate well into what I want to do. Hold on. Let me think about how I want to type this. And I will keep this. I will keep this live for a little while as well. Maybe a few days or something like that. I won't make it members only right away, just so people can kind of look over it. Because if you adapt this mindset as a developer, you're going to be very, very competitive. Let's see. I can analyze this more. It's like, actually, I'm a Twitch streamer. I feel like I really want to make this platform, or I'll say like I'm a content creator. I really want to make this into a full-time job. There are a lot of things I can probably automate or create an app for as a content creator, but I'm trying drawing a blank right now on project ideas. Can you help? No, just give me a list of 10 web apps that I can build that'll help me be a better live streamer on YouTube. Let's try it. Okay, a tool for scheduling and promoting your streams. Send reminders to your followers. Okay, this could include features such as a calendar view, integration with social media platforms, and customizable notifications. Okay, because a lot of that it costs. A lot of the social media integrations will cost. A platform for collaborating with other content creators. Build a web app that helps you connect with other collaborators. Connect and collaborate with other content creators. Features messaging system, a way to share and review content ideas and tools for... Okay. I'm going to see what is going to stand out to me. A tool for analyzing and improving your streams. Create a web app that helps you analyze and improve your streams by tracking metrics such as viewer count, engagement, retention. This could include features such as real-time analytics, historical data analysis, and recommendations for improvement. So if you like data, that could be very interesting. Organizing and managing your content. Build a web app that helps you organize and manage your content, including images and other assets. This could include features such as a media library, tags, and metadata. So we're going to choose one of these ideas. We're going to dig into it and help flesh out some of this, some of the features. All right, these are just a few ideas to get you started, and you can always adapt or combine them to suit your specific needs or goals. Remember to focus on solving specific problems or needs and think about how you can make your app unique and stand out in the market. I like it. All right, so let's look through these. Tool for scheduling and promoting your streams. There's a lot of those out there. A platform for collaborating with other content creators. You know, I don't do a lot of collaborations, so I'm not going to really go with that. A tool for analyzing and improving your streams. Create a web app that helps you analyze and improve your streams by tracking metrics such as viewer count, engagement, retention. This could include features such as real time. And if you have an idea in chat, like if you have an old industry or something like that, you're just like, I wonder, Don should look up this. Like I was a trucker or something like that. Or if you have an old industry you want me to try this with, feel free to let me know. We could dig into it. Just type it in chat. Platform for organizing. I like the analyzing data to improve the streams. I think that's one of the most effective ways. A tool for managing and engaging with your community. This can include features such as moderation tools, analytics on community engagement, ways to connect. Actually, this sounds really cool. Connect with and reward your most active viewers. Okay. A platform for creating and distributing custom merchandise. A tool for creating and sharing polls and surveys. A platform for hosting and organizing online events. Tool for managing and automating your social presence. Nah. Platform for hosting and managing. I think it'd be cool. Where is it? A tool for managing and engaging with your community. I like this idea of like a reward system for your most active viewers. So I like the idea that you mentioned with the fifth entry. Was it fifth? Hold on. I like the fifth idea that you mentioned, building a tool to manage and engage with my community. We'll even say, I really love the idea of a reward system. As an aspiring web developer, I need to practice setting up authentication I also need to be able to get more comfortable with storing things in a database, storing, updating, and retrieving things from a database. How could elaborate on a rewards system. Elaborate. Okay, so if I could build a web app that was essentially a rewards system, I could build a web app that was essentially a reward system for my live stream viewers, what would that look like? Remember to consider the technical challenges that I need practice with. Okay. Users can create an account. Is there a preferred method? This will give an opportunity to practice setting up authentication and storing user information in your database. Users can earn points and rewards by interacting with your live streams in various ways, such as watching for a certain amount of time, commenting, sharing your content. See, this is where it's like you're going to have to check some of this, like sharing your content. There's no way you're going to be able to you could what you could do, that's interesting. What I could do is create like if I can track shares, I think, in YouTube analytics afterwards, and I can see the percentage. I could get the total amount of people that actually did watch, or well, I don't know if I can track shares. If I can, that would be a great statistic to go after. But I could probably track external sources. It's going to give me a percentage of people that came from those sources, and having the total amount of users, I could probably reward everyone that was active in that live stream or something like that. They all get bonus points because people shared that content, right? If I can't track shares, you can try to be creative with that. An app where you can share your skills and maybe have an educational option or hire locally. Oh, that's your idea for an app where you can share your skills and maybe have an educational option or hire locally. So essentially kind of like a local job board. You could do something like that. I don't know what you mean by like educational option, but yeah, okay. Let's see. So earn points. The app could have a leaderboard. Ooh, interesting. Okay. That shows the top viewers. So you're going to have to aggregate data, right? And maybe the leaderboard considers like multiple metrics, right? Maybe you build some, like you prioritize, you have a heavier weight for like if they're active in chat, that's going to be awesome, right? If they share your content, maybe that like isn't as prioritized. Maybe it's high, has a higher priority. I don't know. But again, if we can only give a max amount of, or like a set amount of points to every viewer that was active in chat, that's a thing. So, I mean, yeah, you could prioritize like just even being there, retention rate. Like if a user's there for like 15, 30 minutes, an hour, I can tell you from looking at the YouTube API, YouTube doesn't actually track people that are in the live stream. It'll only show creators who the chatters are. So it's a little bit more secret with that. But like you could do this with Twitch or like other platforms, other live streaming platforms. You could set up a virtual store. That's really cool. Within the app where viewers can redeem their points for various, like this is all stuff I kind of want to build, to be honest. Okay, yeah, where they can redeem their points for various rewards. These could be digital items such as exclusive emotes or chat badges. So you can't really control that, right? Or physical items such as t-shirts or stickers that you mail to them. Damn, that's generous. Or stickers. I mean, stickers is a fairly common thing with some creators. You would need to think about how to store and update the inventory of available rewards, as well as how to track and fulfill orders. So, you know, coming up with a list of rewards is something I could probably do knowing my audience for sure. You could also include features such as a messaging system for viewers to communicate with each other and with you, as well as a way for viewers to give feedback and suggest new rewards or features for the app. So I'm even thinking like maybe a reward for someone being here for so long. Like if my live stream is very large, what I could do is build, what I could do is just like, I could build a little chat, like I can kind of build my own YouTube chat. And I can build a priority system of messages, because like if messages are just going to be like scrolling really fast, I can have a priority queue of messages where maybe they pop up for a very short duration. And, you know, if you've built up some points and you want to buy that priority, so like I always see your message, that could be a really cool feature to build, right? And this is interesting because now I have to figure out, like, I have a lot of data coming in. You have to think about, okay, you know, as a small stream, this is probably easy. Now, what happens when this scales to like 100 viewers? What happens when this scales to 1,000 viewers, right? How do I handle all that data coming in? And what's interesting is like if you set it up with like a relational database before, right? One mistake I made was I used a relational database, and I think it was like MySQL or Postgres or something like that. And then every time a streamer would come, it would actually grab that data. They go to my website, it would grab that data and show analytic data, but it would aggregate all that data every single time a user requested it. It wouldn't periodically aggregate all this data. So like the database got so large, I had so much data, and it was doing calculations at the time that like the API request would come in, which is ridiculous. What you want to do is have a periodic thing of aggregating data, but you don't know that at first, right? So you build this app, and this is okay. You build this app, you build this project, you use the tools that you're learning, and you kind of just build a simple CRUD app, you're just storing stuff. Cool, this is great. Shoot, man, this app is taking longer to serve up the request. I wonder why that is, right? And so then you get to discover what happens when you have a lot of data. This, you know, things really get bogged down. Now I have to be creative. I have to figure out how other developers have solved this in the past. I have to figure out what other tools can I use, or how can I build this in a different way where now I can handle this massive amount of data a little bit better. And so that's a really cool problem to have. That is a really cool problem to talk about in your interview process. And for example, I remember building a tower defense game with React, and the way I set up animations, it really couldn't handle a lot of interactivity in that app. It was kind of broken. And, you know, obviously React's not an amazing tool, to be able to build like a very interactive game with a lot of pieces that it has to account for and a lot of interactions and a lot of data, and like collisions and stuff like that. I don't think React's the best tool for that, but you're probably going to lean on something like Canvas, but I didn't. And I tried to use React in a way that it wasn't meant to be used. And I learned more about React because of that project I failed at. That's a really good conversation to have in the interview. These are really good conversations. And so this is why it's like a lot of you aren't creating LinkedIn posts. You're not documenting your process, right? Like with your projects on your portfolio, you should have like a live link, a link to your repository, and also a case study, or like kind of go through what you were trying to build, what problem you were trying to solve, and like what problems you had to overcome, what hurdles you had to overcome. Talk about that, give more context around your process of like coming to your eventually the final solution, and like talk about the roadblocks, talk about the screw ups that you did and how you had to overcome. Like that's really good information. That's exposing your process as a developer. It's exposing your problem solving process as a developer. Not enough developers are being transparent, and they're willing to put themselves out there to show that entire process of an entire project. Employers want to see that. Remember, employers are taking a risk, and it's usually they're just trying to mitigate that risk. And so when you can be transparent like that and show some of the problems that you overcame, and show some of the problems that you were super excited to finally overcome, right? That's going to give a much more accurate picture of who you are, not just as a code monkey, but as a developer, a human being that's bringing these interesting problems that they've solved in the past, even if it's your old profession, into becoming a developer. That's what makes you unique, and not enough people are sharing that process, especially when they're going through projects. It's like everyone wants to, this is another huge mistake, is a lot of aspiring developers, they want to like come off as like the smartest developer that like, you know, was able to solve this super easy, but they don't want to talk about like how they spent a week trying to, and then they eventually figured out like, okay, well, my naming convention actually screwed me up. And I spent like a whole week. I had maybe 3 days this week, 2 hours after work each day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I tackled it. So it was about like 6 hours. And honestly, I had a small bug because I named a variable something that I didn't expect to name it, or, you know, like something silly like that. They don't want to share that. I think it's okay. I think it's okay to like kind of tease yourself and make fun of yourself, like, okay, this is a silly mistake, it's not happening again. So here is my naming convention. It's consistent across all my future apps, and this is why I've adopted it. And then you could talk about why you brought that convention, that naming convention, into your apps, right? More people need to expose their process like this. I'm telling you, it's going to help you stand out. If someone was a skill like a carpenter, yeah, I gotcha. So you're talking about essentially kind of like a, gotcha, like it's essentially like a market to be able to learn from experts in their trade or something like that. That could be pretty cool, and you can make it local. And the thing is, when you make something local, it's interesting because like if you are someone that's really connected with your town, your local area, you can get a lot of support initially. And you can get a lot of social media support from people you know in the community. You don't need that, right? We have the internet. We have a lot of different online spaces, different online locations, but you could build something local that people really appreciate and just connect people. And even when you're building like kind of a marketplace like that, or even social media app, I highly recommend you start local. A lot of people are just trying to create this like super creative experience with a social media app. That's like, you know, it's going to be the Twitter alternative, etc. Like, no, it's not. Start local. Start with like serving a very specific population in a community, and like expand from there if you need to when you're building a new social media app. That's my personal recommendation from what I've seen, but yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've said everything that I need to say. Do you guys have any questions? I don't know if this has been helpful or not, but this is the way I think. When people ask like, what project should I build? This is exactly what I'm thinking. This mindset of being a problem solver, of being a user-centered developer, identifying problems and integrating your skills to be able to solve those problems. Like, that's the developer that's going to get hired. That's the developer that's going to stand out. A developer, especially, that can bring their previous professional experience that has shaped them, and you know, understanding the problems that exist in that industry. So applying to the same industry, but just for a developer job, you're going to stand out. All of these things are going to help you stand out. And this is what's needed going into 2023. It's going to be very competitive. Recession isn't helping anyone. It's hurting everyone. Most people. So like, adopt this mindset, and I promise you, you are going to stand out from the hundreds of developers that are applying to the same job posting, that are just building some templated project and think they're going to get hired as a code monkey. You might get lucky, but most of the time, that's not the type of developer that's going to be hired nowadays. Especially with a lot of these technical solutions, or like even ChatGPT can write a lot of code that a junior developer can write, right? Like, so what makes you unique on top of this? That's what makes you unique. What's up, Sage? Okay, no other questions. That's it. That's the end of the stream. Sorry I was late. Had a stomach bug or something. I don't know. I hope I'm not getting sick for Christmas, but man, do I don't feel great. But I'm glad that we got to do this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to keep this live for a little while, up to 1 week, probably at most. So if you want to review it, you can. But again, I highly recommend you take this advice seriously. But either way, that's it. I will be live on Friday, probably 12:30 p.m. Central Time. And then we'll do our live Q&A. So if you have any questions, blockers, stuff like that. Thanks, Renee. All right, guys, have a good rest of your day. Good luck in all of your projects and happy coding. See ya.